Igbo ndị ọma na-ege m ntị, revolution in Africa. First, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS Community Court of Justice, has found the federal government of Nigeria guilty of human rights abuses in its response to the EndSARS protest in October 2020. The court mandates the Nigerian government to pay 10 million naira in compensation to each victim, for the 2 million naira. Even if the compensation plan or the compensation amount is up to 100 million naira or $100 million, is it going to make up for the loss of lives and properties and all that we've lost and continue losing? This is not funny. Osalgoko everywhere, not just in Nigeria. Have you guys seen what is happening in Kenya recently? I want to share a video with us that dropped this morning. They will be mentioning the names of the victims during the protests that they had actively since last week. And at the mention of each name, they shout, "Ruto must go." Take a listen.
Kelvin Madanga, Chris Gitonga, tunasema viva jamani. Haya, huyo alikuwa 12 years old. Kennedy Onyango, viva! Rex Masai, viva! Matthew Njoroge, viva!
Now, President William Ruto had bowed to the pressure and lost to the Kenyan youths. And Nigeria is also fighting. I don't know what to say. We are fighting. Is it that we are fighting evil at this point? Not even, is way beyond fighting bad governance. Ghanaians are not even left behind, as they are also calling for a nationwide protest. In September, Tanzanians are also planning their own. Many African countries are gradually waking up, not just in the Western African hemisphere, but in the South, in the East, everywhere in Africa. Now, we're not going to say thanks to our African brothers because Nigerians started this from the season of massive lockdown worldwide. In October, we will not forget, we can't forget the EndSARS. So now that they are finding the president or the authorities of Nigeria guilty to pay compensation, a question to you, my listener, my viewer, is who is the president of ECOWAS? Are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? Because they are afraid of what is coming, they are trying everything to calm down the pressure. Here is the cocoa of the matter. My highlight for this video is that the Igbos, that they are not joining the protest. On your mandate we shall stand, Mr. President.
We go open our nyash, we go open our breast, we go protest. Too much stubbornness, too much for this country. But before you win, we go suffer. The stubbornness is too much. Please, make a find solution for this shit. It's too much. Gary, 2,000 naira. Since when my father bought me, I now buy 1,000 naira pence of Gary. They're selling it 2,000 naira now. It's too much. The stubbornness is too much.
One person, just one person. Have you seen his protest, his one-man gang protest? Hunger Deo, Hunger Deo. Have you seen that protest? He's been arrested for your information. Meanwhile, there had been this coded protest, public protest, peaceful, quote-unquote protest happening in Nigeria since the president took over. And actively, for at least 2 months, there had been a few protests here and there. And they continue to protest. Who are the protesters? Our Yoruba brothers and the Northerners. And every Emiloka is our turn, no. What think gonna happen? I heard, make we drop this grammar jaw. I hear in the verse say Igbo man no one join for the protest. What is your response to that? Because the way I'm seeing Igbo, they no send anyone. They no send. This year, they no want grief for anybody. You see, have you guys forgotten all of a sudden? Exactly 1 year ago, Kaina, snatch it, run with it, snatch it. Boom. A few moments later, Omo Igbo, they were killing our brothers and sisters, demolishing their shops in Lagos, demolishing their houses that they have built with their hard-earned monies, demolishing their establishments, killing them, unaliving them. At a point, they were also unaliving their own brothers and sisters because they say they look like the Igbos, until their own people came out and started fighting back and started speaking in the media to show how embarrassed they got at the level of hate for Igbo. Guinea me. Hello. I want you to take a listen.
The Igbo man learned that the government has nothing for him. So he learned to survive on his own. You will rarely ever find an Igbo man applying to the civil service or looking for salary job. So the average one, even the ones I went to university with, they will go and attach themselves to somebody in the market. They will learn a trade. So they learned to do without government. They learned to discount the government completely. Which means that the Igbo man is better equipped than any other Nigerian to cope with our current circumstances, where the government has become completely useless. The Igbo man was already prepared for the uselessness of the government. So now that he is prepared for it, and everybody else have now decided to stigmatize the Igbo man, I can't blame the Igbo man for turning around and saying, it's none of my business, enjoy your government. He didn't enjoy anything from the government before. So for somebody, and I'm talking about the average Igbo man who is like me and you. I'm not talking about the Ojis or Kalus of this world or the Okorochas of this world who have always fed on the grievances of Ndi Igbo and made money by appeasement of government and then presuming to speak on behalf of. I'm not speaking to those ones. I'm speaking for the average man on the street who grew up believing that he has no portion in Nigeria, which was what fed the Biafran spirit and the demand for Biafra even 50 years after the Civil War. So I'm not speaking to the man on the street of Ala Igbo. I'm not speaking to the trader in Alaba or at Aspanda or at Ladipo. All those ones, they have always lived with the mentality of being victims of the system. So when a victim of the system is telling you, leave me out of your protest, go and deal, because he wasn't gaining anything from the system in the first place. So if he wasn't gaining anything from the system in the first place, he has nothing to lose if the situation becomes the only thing that is happening now is that more victims are being recruited into the Nigerian mess. So why should he, who was always a victim, further victimize himself by joining those he believes are responsible for his victimhood? Unfortunately, it only assures the victimization of everybody. But it is now incumbent on those of us who know better to help him to understand that, yes, we understand that that was yesterday. But for us to all come out of this together, you would have to move away from that pain to now walk. Now at least everybody is now suffering. Yorubas will say that it means that until suffering is democratized, it is not possible to end it. The suffering in Nigeria has now been democratized. Long ago, I predicted that the Nigerian revolution will start in northern Nigeria. The only reason I said so at the time is because the north had always been the reason we could not find common purpose to fight the evil. But now that the person in power in the presidency is not a northerner and is at best a nominal Muslim, and the suffering has now been fully democratized, the northern street, I'm not talking about the northern elite, the northern street has no interest in forbearing and continuing to suffer. Why is it that all of a sudden everything that they tolerated during the years of Muhammadu Buhari is no longer tolerable? Have you considered that? Look, I don't know how long it's going to take, but if this mess continues, the problem that will consume this government will start in northern Nigeria. It's not going to start in the east. The Igbo man has more or less taken a position. I was always a victim. Go and solve your problem. Leave me alone in my little corner. If you lie, steal all the money in the world, you still take that money to a market to go and buy something. And who will you find in the market when you get there? You find the Igbo man there. Whether it's food you are buying, whether it's building material, whether it's car, you find the Igbo man is there in the market waiting for you. So he's already in a position of advantage. So why would he disadvantage himself unless you people show him a readiness for change? So that is where we are right now. It might seem like nothing is going to happen, but something will definitely happen. This system is not sustainable.
Fortuna juice is a taste of paradise. I got a drink that'll make you feel alive. Sipping on Fortuna juice, it's gonna take you high. Tropical flavor in every single drop. When you taste it, you won't wanna stop. It's like a burst of sunshine in a glass. Fortuna juice.
Una know ya? Hey. And the people, if I are our brothers and sisters. Can you zotonu pitobi? My elder brothers and my elder sisters and my younger ones from the north and from the west. Una ndo do one and ndarewa. They are the ones. I go na fiono keta. I go na Igbo, yes. But Igbo man must chop. And they have decided that no one from the Igbo tribe will join this protest that is cooking. Now, asigina Igbo man bo the life to something. It is not bragging.
The day you give an Igbo man the presidency of this country, that is the day Nigeria will discover why it's Nigeria. Economically, people will begin to say, hallelujah.
Upon watch videos during the EndSARS, even some of our sisters, she's still in asylum. She ran to Canada. But you know what? I'm hopeful. I know whether this is being triggered for another kind of war in Africa, but somehow I believe so strong that most of our army personnel in Africa have had their own awakening. Most of them are deploying strategies to overthrow government, to fight for the people genuinely, to protect the people genuinely, to care for the people they've been employed to protect. Somehow I have faith in the armies that we have in the African continent recently. Not all, but most of them. I know what I'm talking about. And so, whilst this is brimming hot, Umunai that said, we no do again. Is it his marriage? We are done. Well, we want to divorce. We filed for divorce since Yowa, and nothing is being done about it. I don't blame us. A lot of people from the western part of Nigeria can attest to the fact that for an Igbo man to turn a blind eye to what is happening today in the country, he should not be blamed. And I believe that as time is going, as we are approaching this revolutionary season in Africa, see, we have evolved, though, we've grown. We have information. The youth of this generation, we know so much. You can't continue to keep us bound. You can't enslave us. You can't continue to mortgage our futures. No, you can't continue to monetize and cash out on our sorrows and our pains and hunger. I've made series of video highlighting on the fact that Agu Dinobodo. Whilst we have our own responsibility to ensure that this does not overtake us, that this doesn't take us unawares, it is also the responsibilities of our leaders to ensure that their citizens are protected, and for once they govern the society with the interest of the people at heart. I'm wrapping up this video here. Biko, share your thoughts in the comment section. Until we see you in the next one. Akabukwa Mwadunu Splendor Ngozi. Bye for now.